Live at 4 on a very busy Friday. Here's what's making news today. The fallout continues in Washington after the president and first lady test positive for COVID-19.
Plus, we're unpacking Madison police's final report on an alleged hate crime.
And leaders from Madison's 3 hospitals are coming together, asking the public to follow guidelines to slow the spread of COVID-19. But first at 4, as we said, the president and the first lady are quarantining at the White House after both tested positive for the coronavirus overnight.
Their 14-year-old son, Barron, has tested negative. Deborah Alfarone is at the White House with more on the president's diagnosis and its impact on the campaign trail.
White House officials say President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump are in good spirits despite displaying mild symptoms hours after testing positive for COVID-19.
He is hard at work. We're having to slow him down a little bit.
I'm optimistic that he'll have a very quick and speedy recovery.
The diagnosis came after one of the president's closest aides, Hope Hicks, tested positive for the virus Wednesday. That's when she began exhibiting symptoms. The chief of staff confirmed the White House had been notified of Hicks' status before the president left for a fundraiser at his New Jersey golf club Thursday.
White House operations made the assessment it was safe for the president in consultation with others.
Notably, the president kept his distance from reporters during that trip. The president's diagnosis has sidelined him from the campaign trail with only about a month left until Election Day. Meanwhile, the White House says contact tracing efforts are underway for anyone who's come in close contact with White House staff. Vice President Mike Pence's office announced he has tested negative. President Trump's daughter, Ivanka, and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, say they've also tested negative.
As this virus continues to go on, other people in the White House will certainly have a positive test result, and we've got the mitigation plan in place.
2020 Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden is campaigning in Michigan after he and his wife Jill announced negative test results Friday. The Bidens were tested due to their proximity to the First Family at Tuesday's debate. In a statement, they sent well wishes to the president and First Lady. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris and her husband Doug Emhoff announced they will continue campaigning after both tested negative.
At this point, the vice presidential debate scheduled for next Wednesday, October 7th, is still on. So what does this mean for the president?
Joining us now is the department chair of the UW-Madison Political Science Department, David Cannon.
David, good to see you today.
Hi, David. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey. Good to be with you.
A lot of people are concerned about the president's ability to govern. How will this affect that?
Well, if the symptoms are mild, the way the White House is saying right now, he should be able to conduct normal business. You have to remember that about 40% of the people who get COVID actually don't have any symptoms at all. And it sounds like the president's symptoms are fairly mild. So if it stays like this, he should be able to still conduct business as maybe not as normal, probably have to reduce the schedule to some extent. But if it turns into more serious illness, then that could be a different situation.
What is that situation?
Well, I mean, worst case scenario would be, let's say he ends up being hospitalized, and maybe if he even has to be on a ventilator, the way that a very small percentage of COVID patients are, at that point you might be looking at invoking the 25th Amendment and having Mike Pence step in the way we've done 3 different times in American history, where the president has had to be temporarily in surgery under anesthesia. Then the vice president will take over for a short period of time. So that could happen if the symptoms end up getting much more serious. But right now, it looks like that's not going to be the case.
This comes 1 month before the election, and it obviously takes President Trump off of the campaign trail. How does this affect the campaigns of both candidates?
Well, clearly this is going to have an impact on the Trump campaign, because their mode of operation for the last month or so has been, Trump's trademark large rallies. That's the way he campaigned all through 2016. He's been doing that now over the last couple of months in this campaign, and the president loves that style of campaigning. So he won't be able to do that, obviously, at least for the next couple of weeks. And so that's a fairly significant change in the way that President Trump is conducting the campaign. On the other hand, Joe Biden showed earlier this summer, you can conduct a pretty effective campaign virtually. So he was running his campaign without being on the trail at all up until about a month ago. And so you can still hold virtual meetings, fundraisers, meet with voters, virtually. I think the public is getting more accustomed to the online world because so many of us are doing work from home these days that I think it's easier than it would have been, say, had everyone else not been doing this as well.
The president has downplayed this virus for many, many months. Is this going to affect his followers?
Well, right. It's an interesting point about the sort of partisan reaction to the COVID virus that we, early on, when we first found out about it, there weren't many differences between Democrats and Republicans, the way that we were responding to it in terms of what, kind of approach was needed to deal with it. Over the summer, you saw a big gap open up where Democrats still, thought it was a serious concern, whereas Republicans, started to think it wasn't as serious. So now with the president testing positive, you might expect that gap to diminish a bit because people will see, oh my gosh, our president tested positive. This is real.
David, thanks for your time today. Interesting day in American history, that's for sure.
Good to see you, David. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
COVID-19 locally continues to spread quickly, and more people have died from the virus in the state. Another 2,300 or so people have tested positive within the last day or so. The state is quickly approaching 130,000 cases since the beginning of the outbreak, and that is just weeks after the state surpassed the 100,000 case mark.
Leaders from Madison's 3 big hospitals are coming together, urging the public to do their part in stopping the spread of coronavirus. They say in Dane County, it's not just UW students anymore. The surge in cases is widespread. In the last 2 weeks, an average of 139 Dane County residents have tested positive each day.
We are perilously close to a time back in April when we had our highest level of hospitalizations in the city. And we don't want to get back to that point because it hampers effective care of all of our patients.
They say 2 of the words they're hearing a lot while doing contact tracing are Packers and wedding, showing that people are still attending parties and gatherings. They hope to get the point across that we still need to social distance and wear masks. An influx of patients will seriously affect the hospital's ability to treat everyone.
State Republicans will try to reverse Wisconsin's mask mandate next week. The Republican-controlled legislature filed a motion today in support of a lawsuit seeking to undo the statewide mask mandate. A hearing on the case is scheduled for Monday. Experts say universal mask wearing can dramatically slow the spread of the coronavirus and reduce the upcoming flu season as well. The state is currently 3rd on the list of states experiencing the greatest growth in COVID-19 cases.
Most Sun Prairie area school students will continue to go to school online until at least January. Students in grades 3 through 12 will attend virtual classes until at least January 22nd. Officials say they're following Dane County public health guidelines. Students with disabilities will continue to attend in-person classes. More than 100 pages of case notes and months of local and federal investigations led to nothing today. Madison police closed their investigation into an alleged hate crime.
Madeline O'Neill combed through those records. She tells us what police found and didn't find in regards to what an 18-year-old woman says happened to her. Maddie?
Well, for the past 3 months, we've gotten a lot of questions about this case. We've asked a lot of questions without many updates from police until today. In June, Althea Bernstein told police she was stopped at a red light near downtown on State Street around 1 a.m. when a group of 4 men called her the N-word, splashed her with fluid, and lit her on fire. Police reports show investigators used cell phone location data and looked through footage from public and private cameras. Those do show Bernstein driving from a friend's place downtown through the State Street area and to Middleton to switch cars with her brother as planned, then back home to Monona before going to the hospital. Medical records show Bernstein was burned, but the cameras don't show any kind of attack or attackers as she described. Interim Police Chief Vic Wall says he doesn't think it's possible police or assisting agencies like the FBI missed anything in that time frame.
Some answers that we just don't have and we're unable to find, but I'm not going to speculate on what those might or might not be.
Bernstein's family asked for privacy today, but did issue a statement saying Althea Bernstein and her family appreciate the detailed investigative efforts by all involved in this case. Her injuries are healing, and the support of our community has been invaluable in that regard. Now, according to records, there's no evidence of Bernstein planning to falsify a crime or a police report, and right now, Interim Chief Vic Wall says that charging her is not the best option in this case. Now, coming up at 5 and 6, we'll have more details from this lengthy investigation.
All right, Maddie, thank you. Let's take a look outside on this Friday. Kind of chilly this morning, a little frosty on the ground.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you need it's sweater weather now.
It is sweater weather. Not quite as cold are the weather words, and Dana Fulton is in the backyard. Sans sweater.
Sans sweater, sans umbrella. Also, we're not dealing with those spotty showers like we saw yesterday. Still very cloudy outside, though. Here's a live look at downtown. A few of those trees bringing in some beautiful color. It does feel like fall outside with temperatures near 50 degrees currently. So it is cool outside for this afternoon and this evening, but it won't be quite as cold for our overnight low temperatures. Looking at lows dropping to the upper 30s rather than in the mid to upper 30s or mid to lower 30s as we head into tomorrow. Overall, things are going to continue to stay quite fall-like as we look ahead to the next several days. Radar is quiet for us as well, but we will take a closer look at what is ahead with our full forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll check back in just a little while, Dana. Thank you.
Well, still to come before the Madison Area Music Awards, or MAMAs, will be handed out Sunday, virtually, of course.
Our Michael Bruno goes behind the screens to show us how the show must go on. That's when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Hey, Madison voters, don't let the pandemic suppress your vote. Create your safe voting plan now. You have options. Visit cityofmadison.com/clerk to create your safe voting plan today. Brought to you by the Madison City Clerk's Office.
People were afraid I was contagious. I felt gross.
It was kind of a shock after I started Cosentyx. 4 years clear.
Real people with psoriasis look and feel better with Cosentyx. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor about an infection or symptoms. If your inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen, or if you've had a vaccine or plan to, serious allergic reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentyx.com.
Happy Hour just got hoppier at IHOP with a $5 menu featuring pancakes, burgers, and more yum-yums. So while you can't buy happiness, you can buy hoppiness. iHoppy Hour, every day from 2 to 10 p.m.
Let us help you create your family's recipe for health. SSM Health and News 3 Now are making it easy by putting all the ingredients right at your fingertips. With topics like healthy habits, nutrition, and mental well-being, there's something for everyone. Visit Channel 3000's Time for Kids page for advice from SSM Health experts.
And catch fresh and informative reports on News 3 Now.
Take Time for Kids with SSM Health and News 3 Now.
Hey, you guys gonna get started?
We're just waiting for the activation fee.
But I already paid for the day.
Yeah, and then it's $100 to activate us.
Activate you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you, a cyborg?
It's crazy to charge people for things they already bought.
I'm gonna get my wallet.
That's why at US Cellular, we speak fair and never charge activation fees. Switch to US Cellular and get $500 off the latest smartphones with no hidden requirements. US Cellular. Upgrade to fair.
It's a familiar story. Allergies ruining your sleep and next day too. Taking Zysol at night relieves allergies while you sleep, so you wake refreshed. Plus, it works faster than Claritin and on first dose provides the same relief as Zyrtec at nearly half the size. Be wise all. Take Zysol at night.
What would Joe Biden's plan do for you? Families with young children could get nearly $7,000 for childcare. Buying your first home, you'll get $15,000 towards the down payment. If you get paid by the hour, your income could grow by as much as $14,000. Older seniors, your yearly Social Security benefits could increase by $1,300. The Biden plan. The wealthy and big corporations pay more, you benefit.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Hey, Madison voters, don't let the pandemic suppress your vote. Create your safe voting plan now. You have options. Visit cityofmadison.com/clerk to create your safe voting plan today. Brought to you by the Madison City Clerk's Office.
A new government report shows that job hiring is slowing down.
The Labor Department says the economy added 661,000 jobs in September, a drop from the summer months. Despite the disappointing report, the unemployment rate fell from 8.4 to 7.9%.
The pace of that recovery is certainly tapering off. And I think the trend looks like it's going to be a tough fourth quarter for the U.S. economy.
The economy has regained about half of the 22 million jobs that were lost when the pandemic shut down much of this economy this spring. But more layoffs are on the way. Disney is eliminating 28,000 jobs, most of them at the company's theme parks. Federal unemployment checks stopped this summer. On Thursday, the Democratic-controlled House passed a new package that would resume those payments. Stocks on Wall Street tumbled on that unemployment news and the president's COVID-19 announcement. The Dow Industrials fell 134 points, ending the week at 27,682. The NASDAQ dropped 251 points, or 2.2%, and the S&P 500 was off 32. Well, through all of the challenges this year, many people found comfort in music.
Even though most live performances are canceled for the time being, the Madison Area Music Association is still honoring area musicians with their annual awards ceremony.
Our Michael Bruno goes behind the screens of their virtual ceremony.
The MAMA stands for Madison Area Music Association, which is a nonprofit that is devoted to putting instruments in kids' hands in the greater Madison area. And we've been around for 17 years and have donated over $100,000 worth of grants and materials to the area music programs. But our signature event every year is sort of like the Grammys of Madison. We do a big award show. It's super fun, where we award, album of the year, artist of the year, performer of the year, vocalist of the year. So all the different categories, all the different genres, all the things you would see at the Grammys. And normally we do it at the Overture Center, but obviously this year we're going to do it a little bit differently.
Do the general public get to vote on that, or is there like an academy of members?
It is public vote, so it's 100% fan-driven. And, it's kind of made the band with the most rabid fans will win.
So let's talk to the MC of this award, the very lovely and talented Cooper Talbot. So Coop, tell me about how you're going to make this different this year. Obviously, you have to MC this virtually, right?
Yeah, well, the first thing I did was got a onesie, since I'm going to be all comfy without you, So got the tuxedo onesie, and I just had to, or we really just have to continue to be as creative and as artistic as possible. So whether I'm like here in my lovely bedroom here, or if I'm there with all of you, like I still have to bring the same everything, right? And so that's just what just the Mamas is going to do for this show, because it is really important, honoring these musicians for the work they're still doing. So let's also still do work with honor.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Nora O'Donnell in the nation's capital. We have breaking news just coming in